Welcome back. It's React Court. I'm excited to be here. It's been a week. Millennial voice. It has been a week. Strap in and get ready to read. Thread emoji, one of X. So I was going to work yesterday on the subway, which I often do, go to work on the subway. Love going to the subway. One of the best parts of living in New York. Two of X. Okay, you get the idea. First tweet has 15,000 retweets. Second tweet has 800. We're back to React Court, and I'm ready. I'm ready to judge. It's been a bit. Let's start with the top post. Everyone sucks here. Am I the asshole for telling a girl that she is responsible for her own failures? This seems like the kind of thing that Reddit would honestly eat up. I feel like they would be like, this is very based. My roommate's friend, sorry, I went through about 17 different steps there. My roommate's friend, my 22F, roommate's friend 22F, is always complaining about how unfair life is and how hard it is to find internships. She always whines about nepotism and connections and blames everyone else for her shortcomings. She's also jealous of me because I've made smart choices all throughout college and recently secured a well-paying job. I can read, I promise. At a consulting company for after we graduate. She started moaning about how she can't get a job because she's unconnected. I outlined to her exactly how I got my position. I competed for entrance in the best pre-professional organizations based around consulting as a freshman, and since then I've been networking and gaining internships to experience to secure a high-paying position. I'll have you know I have over 300 confirmed Git pushes to the production branch. I graduated top of my class at Khan Academy. She could have done the same, but she chose not to. It has nothing to do with unfairness or connections. She just didn't hustle throughout college, didn't network, didn't make smart choices like I did. The problem is that she failed personally, not that life isn't fair. And frankly, even if it was, she should stop crying about it and get to work. She hates me even more now. Okay. Look, I can't believe we're here on episode 1, but like, right off the bat, with no extra context, I do not feel comfortable saying everybody sucks here. Everybody seems to largely be in agreement that even if you think that he's right, this is an asshole move. Okay? Like when she's complaining about stuff and you just go, oh, actually, I grinded, myself. I was going to say down to the bone, but that's not necessarily fair. If you work hard, you get rewarded for it sometimes, but not with, one-to-one relationship to fairness necessarily. But either way, I'm stunned at the everybody sucks here votes, both in chat and in the... Although, to be honest, there's not that many proportionally in the actual ledger here. Because there's you got to consider the environment that you're into, okay? If 3 friends of a similar age are around and they're complaining like, oh, nepotism, oh, connections, you're not an asshole even if you just complain about stuff that's not necessarily true to try to create some relatability. People you have casual complaining conversations with your peers all the time. I know that, when you're talking to your parents, you're like, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. When you're talking to your friends, you're like, literally every problem on earth is created by people that are over the age of 55, even if they had no impact on global politics whatsoever, right? So you tailor what you're saying in different situations. Not everything is an invitation to be like, hey, attack the position that I'm holding true just for having, a conversation here. So even if you think she's very wrong, if you're not engaging in a debate to come at her like this, it makes you the asshole just because you're responding to some griping with actually personal attacks, essentially. Now, the one thing I would say to the OP is that you're 22 years old. Like, I get how it goes, man. Like, that probably seems old. Oh, I'm so old. I'm so old. I'm feeling nostalgia for the first time. Oh man, like there's one generation of kids that are younger than me that are in like sixth grade right now. Oh, I'm so old. But you're not actually that old. 22 is like you're a little baby. You're just getting started. You're just getting out of college. To say that she failed personally is a little crazy. Like it's a long race. Where you're at 22 has some influence, I'm sure, at where you're going to be at when you're like 50, but you got a long way to go. I take it from me, some of the people in my life that I knew that were, at 22, they were a little bit quote unquote behind. Now they're doing just fine. Some of the people who were killing it at 22, they got to be 30 and then they said, I don't really want to, be this kind of like rise and grind person anymore. I'm going to actually take a step back from the rat race if I have the opportunity and chill out a little bit. So, I mean, this seems like a situation where, well, I mean, can I just be rude? Like, I kind of feel like OP is hyper fixated on academic and professional success, and they sound like a kind of a huge nerd with maybe limited social skills that chafe everybody else around them just based on the way that they responded to this. Essentially. The rest of their replies are even worse. Well, maybe there's a teachable moment here. You're the asshole mainly because so I'm saying you're the asshole. I'll make my verdict, okay? You're the asshole. You sound self-righteous, completely oblivious to others and their circumstances. She's right. Life actually is unfair. Her main complaint was about connections, and you specifically said you networked your way to internships, so it sounds like your opportunities were based on connections. I think that's true. Like, look, I complain. Well, you got to be careful about the way that you phrase this, all right? There are people in my life who complain more about life being unfair than me, but I do also think, life has been unfair in a positive way for me. I attribute like a lot of, not just my own success, but a lot of success in general just comes down to kind of like luck and variance, if that makes sense. Like I can think of a number of circumstances. Like the first job I got at Goodwill was on merit. I was a warm body, basically. But then, like, the next summer, I basically got a job because my mom knew... I got an interview because my mom knew somebody who worked at the company. And then for years, I was like, I nailed the interview. And then, you get a little older and you're like, probably, maybe you did. But, at the same time, it's... you probably had an extra foot in the door. And then the job I worked for the next 2 summers... I also had a family member who worked at the company. So I was like, man, I'm really good at interviewing. Like I've only had like 5 job interviews in my life and I've gotten the job 4 times. That's crazy. Like I must be really impressive in the interview process. But then when it comes to YouTube, it's the same thing as well. There are people who work way less hard than me. Maybe they work smarter. Maybe they don't, but they're more successful. And there's people who have like grinded their you-know-what off and they're not as successful. And some of that is due to like a convoluted meritocracy where like the most entertaining stuff has a tendency to do better. And some of it is just like, well, you happen to be born in the late 80s, which meant when YouTube was taken off, you had the space to actually dedicate some time to it. And then these people, on the other hand, were born in 1973, and they had 3 kids that were going to college when YouTube was taking off. So even if their dream was to become a full-time YouTuber, they couldn't afford to quit their full-time job to make it happen because they would have been destitute. So... essentially, like there's a lot of stuff that you can't control. There's a lot of stuff you can control, but there's a lot of stuff that you can't control as well. So I think being deluded into the idea that it's like a full, meritocracy is a little ridiculous. But I do also understand. I mean, like I know or have known people in my life that are like, life's not fair, and you're like, well, do you ever consider like changing the way you work? And they're like, no. And you're like, okay. What you do is you don't go, well, then you don't have a right to complain. You just go, if I'm going to maintain a friendship with this person, when they complain, in my head, I'll be like, well, you could do something to change it. But what you say to them is, yeah, it sucks. You know, you just be sympathetic because they're a friend of yours. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Just, yeah, try to be supportive. Also, she's 22. She'll figure it. Like 6 years ago, she was in 10th grade. You expect her to have her whole life figured out at 22? Like you can't. I wouldn't. And I know some people in the chat are like in their early 20s. They're like, I'm an adult. You might be like like legally, obviously, but you genuinely might be like from a maturity standpoint. But also, like as a 32-year-old, I wouldn't trust a 22-year-old with a menu, much less like to have the philosophy of what they want to do in their life figured out in an ironclad sense, you know, for life. Yeah, you can't even rent a car until you're 25, man. Everybody sucks here. Yes, a user received Reddit Platinum for this post. You are demonstrating textbook survivorship bias. The idea that everything fell in your lap because you worked hard ignores the very real luck factor. Yeah, I mean, and now I'm just like getting into my own, like everyone loves to talk about themselves, right? It took me a while to realize this on YouTube as well. Like I was like, you know, yeah, YouTube sucks, but you know, it worked out for me. All I had to do was, you know, you don't know that you're the plane that comes back with the bullet holes, or if you're like the plane that was built different and as a result didn't get shot in the first place, you know? This, so much this, user received gold for this post, this. Anyway, I think this, there's tons of examples of people that have, and I think about this on YouTube and Twitch a lot. There's tons of examples of people on Twitch that, you know, have been streaming for 10 years, have hustled, read, you know, how-to guides about how to make their stream better, have the perfect lighting set up, you know, try to network, et cetera, and then, you know, 10 years later, they're in basically the same spot that they were, you know, when they started. And some of that is just basically due to, like, you know, you can't always, especially in a business, I think like this, you can't always guarantee that hustling's always going to pay out, you know? I think it gives you a better chance for it to pay out, but there's a lot of luck and there's a lot of variance. Anyway, that's fair enough. This one, dude, I'm like, this one puts me in a weird position. That's not true if you ask Daniel. Well, here's where I take on that issue. Okay, Dan and I we ran, you know, Check the Wire together. So I think we have a similar idea, which is that if you, the way you give yourself the best chance is by working, you know, as hard as you feel comfortable, as smart as you can, and you know, just consistently doing that for like a long time. But I think and again, Dan might even be here. You can feel free to disagree with this. It's not rude. I think it's it's a productive mindset to believe that everything is within your control in that sense. You know, I'm a little bit more cynical, so like in my head, I'm like, you have control over a certain percentage, and then a lot of it is basically up to kismet. But I think that, you know, it's like a useful delusion. I think if you're like, I have complete control over everything, because then I think, you know, that delusion keeps some doubt from popping in, which allows you to probably have a better chance. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Am I the asshole for getting mad at a guy for sending my girlfriend $500 flowers for her birthday? $500 flowers is, it's a lot. It's a lot. But I mean, is it a guy or is it like, you know, her best friend for life or something like that? I would just be really uncomfortable, I think. Hold on. Let's just, well, okay, hold on. Is it one of those cool orchids from like Adaptation that John LaRoche had to harvest illegally from a national park? Hey, Bean Setsu, thank you. Thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you. I had to, it took a lot of grinding to get these views. Man, if you hustle like I hustle, you too can have people randomly dropping in and generously giving out 10 gifted subscriptions based entirely on merit and nothing else. This thread has been locked. Oh, they're all locked, so that's not uncommon. I know for a fact he's just a friend, so no comments about that. I'm sure the point is something else. I'm upset because they're better flowers than I can afford for her birthday, so anything I get for her will be a pity. She posted it on Instagram for everybody to see, and she is going to tell people they're from me and have me lie if somebody asks. They're roses too. She picked the color ahead of time, so she knew they were coming. That's just really sad. So her friend, but you say he's just a friend. But look, I don't know. Maybe that's true. Your friend spent $500 on flowers, gave them to your girlfriend. Your girlfriend posted them on Instagram and lied to say that her boyfriend got them for her. That's so sad for the friend and for the boyfriend. It's anyway. He runs a flower store, so he was able to get them cheaper than normal, which is why she said this is normal. I got extremely jealous and was about to message him telling him, hey, I respect your friendship, but this is too much. GF stopped me, asked if I was crazy. My problem is with her, not him, if I don't like it. Am I the asshole? Market value is over 1K. I was being generous to him. He's not a florist, but he's a married multi-millionaire who's just a partner in the business that sells these flowers. I forgot how to read this weekend. I realized. Edit. Very interesting mix of responses here. Gold, really? Downvotes, really? Fully admit I'm the asshole for wanting to message him, but was surprised how many people think it's okay for a man married but flexible? And every edit gets, like, stranger. First he's a friend, then he's a florist, then he's a married multimillionaire, and now he's got an open relationship. Okay. To send over $100,000 worth of roses to another man's girlfriend. Also very surprised at how few people think roses are a romantic gift. You all grew up in a different world than I did. Appreciate the kind and understanding. Appreciate the people who agreed with me. Already resolved it by apologizing for trying to text him, but told her I still think it's an inappropriate gift. Thanks, all. Here's all I'm going to say, okay? Like, I must have misspoke. Did I say $100,000 in roses? My mistake. I told you I forgot how to read this weekend. Yes, you did. Okay, well, it's 1,000. My mistake. I mean, 100,000 is ridiculous. 1,000? That's just like a normal Wednesday. I spend so much money at the florist. Like, come on, 100,000. What is it? You know, your mid-anniversary? Everybody sucks here because he keeps changing his story. I'm so crazy. Yeah, like $100,000 is just like $100 to me. And Squid Game is just like a game. I did like the reply I got on Twitter where I told Hassan to watch the Hunger Games if he likes Squid Game. And then somebody replied, I'm so hungry, the Hunger Games are just like a game to me. It's pretty good. Anyway. Overall, I mean, let me say something here, okay? I think, let's assume that we're taking him at face value and like he's genuinely a married multimillionaire is a weird phrase to say, okay? It's not just a bad brain. Married multimillionaire. Let's assume that he is a married multimillionaire who's just a friend. He doesn't want to engage in romantic overtures with this guy's girlfriend. I don't think that $1,000, well, you know, $500 in roses, is that crazy? Like, rich people like that, they kind of live in a different world, you know? You'll keep like a ledger in your head if you pay for somebody's, if you're a normie, you pay for somebody's like McDonald's order. It'll be like 4 years later. You'll be like, hey, you think you could get this Starbucks for me because I bought that McDonald's for you back in 2017? But if you're like in the 1% of the, well, maybe not the 1% of the 1%, but if you're in, if you're that high up on the tax bracket, maybe you spend $500 on roses, you forget about it like in 10 seconds, right? So that doesn't seem crazy to me when you put themselves in their shoes, but it's very weird that she wanted you to lie and say that you bought the roses for her. That's very strange. I don't know if it's like an asshole move, but it's really weird. It's just a weird energy. I would be like, no, just say like, my friend got it for me. My boyfriend is not a married multimillionaire, so yeah, I can say it, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. Long story short, you shouldn't be mad at the guy. You should be mad, or at least you have an issue with your girlfriend. The guy, if we take him at face value, he's just a guy. He's just a very wealthy guy who's like, how much could a banana cost? $10? She seems to know the gift is a little bit over the top and the optics of it would look bad, so we have to lie about it on social media. Hey, just a thought, by the way, like she didn't have to put it on social media. I know that this is like antithetical to modern existence, and it's like it's heretical. Hey, Egg Parmesan, thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you. I wonder, okay? Because like when somebody has 50,000 followers on a social media platform and then they post something for attention, I'm like, yeah, that's your job, or like at least a hobby. But when people have like 70 followers on social media, and this is not like punching down. If anything, it's like aspirational. I'm like, if you have 70 followers on Instagram, it's not too late. You can still delete that shit and get out. You can bail. You don't have to be there anymore. When people have established it and woven it into their career path and stuff like that, you kind of, you're like, I got to go to this fucking website again. Having such an awesome day today. Fuck yeah, I hate this fucking place, right? If you got like, 55 followers on Instagram, don't post that shit. Like 8 people are going to see it, for one. Just delete it and enjoy your time with your family. Enjoy this awesome gift or something like that. I don't understand. Anyway, sorry. I apologize. Instagram's down right now anyway. You're the asshole. So the issue is that he got her flowers. They're more expensive than what you can afford. Who gives a shit? It's so engineering owned 2299 based this so much this user received Reddit bronze for this post. A gift isn't about the cost, it's about the thought put into it. And if you continue to compare dollar amounts, you'll always find someone who can afford more than you. That's true. Comparison is the theft of joy. This is like, man, this guy knows what he's doing. OP knows what this guy's doing. The guys reading the thread know what he's doing. He wants to get in OP's girlfriend's pants. That's what he's thinking. You're either incredibly naive to think he's sending that many roses to a woman because they're just friends, or you're maliciously gaslighting OP into thinking he should be okay with this. OP, keep this guy at arm's length. What are you going to do? Like, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. How are you going to stop it in the first place? What do you mean keep him at arm's length? you don't have that much control over it in the whole scheme of things. Roses are a romantic gift in most parts of the world. He's trying to woo her. I mean, look, there is a non-zero chance that that's the case, but like at the same time, I love the idea that like, hey, everything you said about like knowing that it's not a romantic gesture, just from your post, it's a romantic gesture. You don't make it illegal for your girlfriend to ever see this guy ever again. Like, what are you going to do? I think everyone can relate to your feelings. As a result, you are not the asshole. I don't know if that's how it works. Everyone's acting like it was a damn Chili's gift card, and their roses to boot. The flower most associated with love and passion. Is this not relevant? I swear, if this post was a girl being upset her boyfriend bought his friend who's a girl some flowers, it would be, what OMG, he cheating, girl. Did you have to write it like that? But since it's a guy, everyone's just, aw, you jealous, this and that, double standards out the wazoo. I don't know what to say about that one. It's just the way it was phrased makes me uncomfortable. I don't know if that's true, honestly. I feel like if a married guy who owned a flower shop bought a girl an extravagant flower gift, I don't think I would look at that as if he's like putting on airs. I think I would be like, of course he got you flowers. This dude owns a damn flower shop. His name is Kush Nerd. It's true. Do you think it's Ivanka's husband? If he owned a flower shop and he bought her like like a Ford Bronco, I'd be like, yo, what the hell, man? But if he has part ownership of a flower shop and he got her some nice flowers, that seems appropriate. He's an investor in the flower shop. Yeah, but like that means he gets, he's buying the flowers at cost, I'm assuming. Even if he's not buying the flowers at cost, he gets a refund when he buys them. Because he owns, let's say 30% of the shop or something. So it's already a discount no matter what. What if he bought her a Peloton? Well, now we're talking. If he owns a flower shop, he knows what roses mean as a gift. Yeah, but like, look, I understand that, but I'm also like, that's kind of bullshit. Sometimes a flower is just a flower. Like, if she just likes roses, it doesn't mean... I don't... it's kind of like a dream journal thing to me. Sometimes when you dream about falling, it means that you have anxiety over, like, an impending stress. And sometimes it just means, you dreamt that you were on the rings of Saturn and you fell through. Like, just happens, man. Anyway, the other thing is, again, I feel like there's an extra element here of, like, what are you going to do? Okay, maybe he's trying to like seduce her. You're not the asshole, but like I'm not sure what your praxis is going to be from this point onwards. Like, you kind of just got to roll with the punches and then, act with integrity from that point onwards, I guess. In what world is it appropriate to buy someone? I mean, like, look, it is I would feel similar to OP. That's why I said OP is only the asshole for taking it up with the guy. I think it's appropriate for the girlfriend to be like, hey, thanks for the flowers. Next time, do not give me such an extravagant gift because it's a little weird. So I don't think it makes OP the bad guy that he's mad. I think him having the issue with his rival is kind of that's the issue that maybe makes him the asshole. Whereas it falls on his girlfriend to be like, hey, please, don't do that in the future. Also, lying on social media is super weird. Hello, Jay, by the way. Hello. New glasses? Who this? No, these are the same glasses. It's I'm just using a filter. This is a TikTok. It's called the CEO filter on TikTok. Am I the asshole for telling my husband we're not spending Christmas with him? This one just seems like it's going to be sad. Am I the asshole for telling my husband we aren't spending Christmas with him? Today, my husband and I got into a huge fight about Christmas, in particular, Santa. Okay. Because I'm assuming you have a child and you want to tell them that Santa is real and your husband doesn't because he's a STEM lord. That's just my guess. Okay, not a STEM lord, appears to just have a different religion. But anyway, Christmas has always been a huge part of my life. It's my favorite time of the year. I believed in Santa until I was 10 or 11. Chat, close your ears. By the way, I believed in Santa until I was 12, I think. I've told this story before, but my parents went out one Saturday to buy groceries. I was just home alone at age 11 or 12. And then when they came back, it was like March, right? They were like, we got to tell you something. The Easter Bunny's not real. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I'm 11. I'm not an idiot. And then after that, I said, it really makes you wonder about Santa Claus as well. And they went, okay, look, we plead the fifth on that one. You got us, etc., etc. So that's where it all fell apart for me. It's a very only child story. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm not mad. Like, it's not like it really inhibited my life too much. But anyway, 10, 11, I'm sure is late, but it's not that crazy. I asked a lot of questions and was told by other kids that he wasn't real until I admittedly knew deep down, but just loved the magic of it all. I still do. My husband, Chris, I'm assuming asterisk means name is changed to protect the innocent, never celebrated Christmas as he is a Muslim. He only started participating when we met 11 years ago. He knows how important Christmas is to me. Every year we go to the Christmas events, light looking, the whole works. Our son Louis is 4. Chris Kringle, perhaps? And my son, St. Nicholas, he's very articulate and has started talking about Christmas and Santa, in particular, writing him a letter. I told him it was a bit early, but that we would definitely do that closer to Christmas. Then I left for work. I came home 9 hours later, and Louis was acting strange. He wasn't crying, but was clearly upset. I presumed he had gotten in trouble because he was acting similar to if he'd been scolded or gone to timeout. I asked Chris why Louis was upset, and after some pressing, Chris told me that he told Louis Santa wasn't real. He told Louis that Santa was based on St. Nicholas and how he was Turkish, just like Daddy. Look, I don't know if that's true, but that's just a very funny thing to say. And be like, you know what? I'm gonna blow up this kid's whole spot. I'm gonna blow up this kid's illusion of the world just to tell him that Santa and his dad are the same ethnicity. I lost my mind. We'd previously agreed not to tell Louis that Santa wasn't real until he started asking questions about whether or not he was real. The magic I experienced with my son during Christmas is so special, and I'm angry my husband has prematurely taken it away. I'm angry that he has ruined my child's magic when it comes to Christmas. My husband showed absolutely no remorse. Said I'm an asshole, told me it's not a big deal. I feel like if roles were reversed and I'd said something about Ramadan or something he values, he'd be furious. Okay, but look, I know where I'm going with this one, but like, Christmas has a religious significance, but Santa doesn't have a religious significance. You know, it's like, it's Christmas is, celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ on a religious level. Santa's just like a guy. Santa's like the hallmark Jesus Christ. He's like, he was invented by like Toys R Us, right? At least in his modern sense. What are you going to make up about Ramadan? Like, you're going to be like, yeah, John Ramadan's not real? What are you talking about? He was invented by Coca-Cola. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You're blowing up Warren Buffett's spot. Like, you're not, it's on a different level. I told my husband that Louis and I would be spending Christmas in my hometown this year, 4 hours away, and that he wasn't invited if he was going to be a buzzkill. He's a good husband and father, but his lack of remorse or care for something I value has made me furious. He thinks I'm overreacting. Okay, here come the edits. Louis has not asked if Santa was real, but was instead talking about the North Pole, and my husband decided it was a great time to tell him Santa isn't real and St. Nicholas is Turkish like him. I don't think I was clear in my post, but I'm upset that he undermined me and our agreement and was without discussing with me. I feel blindsided and like what I value doesn't matter. Husband, okay, yes. I mean, like, edit 4, we are divorced now. Look, I'm. This is a tough one, okay? I genuinely, even though it's kind of a funny one, it's also kind of a tough one. You can't just be like, hey, everything in our marriage is totally fine. You're like a great dad and a great husband, but you're not invited to Christmas. Like that's over the line. It's that's that's like the most, well, you know, it depends. It's wrapped up in culture and it's wrapped up in religion, but at least in, you know, I mean, I'm an atheist and Christmas is like the holiday that I hold most sacred because my family gets the most time off. So it's kind of something about that December environment is, you know, it's sacred in an extent. Like the idea that you're like 11 months of the year we're married, but like that 1 month of the year that is like perhaps the one of the most important, we're like, you just like live on your own for that one. And also, what about his presence, right? You can't just you can't cancel the prezzies on him, but he also definitely did something he shouldn't have done, ignoring the fact that at some point the child will find out that Santa's not real to begin with. You know, if they had an agreement that they were going to tell him when he's 4, who cares? If they had an agreement they're not going to tell him until he's 18, who cares? Well, that's funny, but who cares? But him just being like, oh, by the way, Santa's not real, but also the guy he's based on is Turkish, just like me, is hilarious to imagine the conversation, but also it's a dickhead move. Is my 2 cents at least. I would say, for me, this is an everybody sucks here. IMO, and this is the not the view in the plurality. Seems like we got a 66% not the asshole, 25% say everybody sucks here. I look, I don't know, man. Like, you can't. Like, you're not invited to Christmas is like the warning shot you fire before you serve somebody with divorce papers. Which is why I'm like, how can she be like, everything's fine, but you're not allowed to celebrate Christmas with us? Like, that's what's weird to me. That's why I think she's the asshole, in addition to him being the asshole as well. He broached the bubble first, but she, I mean, I think she took it a step too far. Now, the question is not who's worse. Did both people do something wrong? Yes, I think both people crossed the line. Now, let's see where I diverge from Reddit as a whole. Not the asshole. This degree of maliciousness is really deep. Jealousy, envy, resentment, I don't know, but your husband drew blood with this, and you need to ask him why. What? He drew blood? I just... Tell me you watched It's a Wonderful Life 75 times a year as a child without telling me you... Look, I like Christmas. There are some people who they like Christmas. You know what? The kinds of people who are like... And if you're in this group, this doesn't mean you're crazy. I'm just saying, you know, like Thanksgiving ends and immediately they're like the Christmas tree goes up. We're watching a Christmas movie every day throughout November and December, except for the fact that, you know, there's only been 4 good Christmas movies ever made. You know, you get the idea. Like they turn the radio station to the Christmas music and they listen to it for, you know, 10% of the year, even though there's only been 3 good Christmas songs ever written, so on and so forth. And this... When you, I mean, he didn't really draw blood. It also doesn't really sound malicious. I mean, you think he had like foam coming out of his mouth? I'm about to end this kid's whole career. Hey, did you know Santa Claus is Turkish? What an asshole. I'm really sorry. I love this. I know we've never met. I'm really sorry. He shouldn't have done that. I agree with the top comment. The best thing you could do is talk to him about this. First, it would be nice if you posted it all on Reddit so we could all get you whipped up into a frenzy about how your husband's a piece of garbage, and then, okay, but then you should go talk to him. I doubt this is the first time he sabotages your parental decisions without telling you. Look, he made a mistake. That's too far, man. That's just, come on. It's like every time you have hey, I said I was going to take the garbage out. Oh, sorry, I got busy. I forgot to take the garbage out. How can I ever trust you ever again? What if you say you're going to be there for me if I get sick? And then I get sick and you forget about it. It's like, come on, I forgot to take the garbage out once. Everyone just chill out. Your husband is not only an asshole, but he's an ignorant asshole. Nicholas was a Byzantine Greek. The Turks didn't show up for a few centuries later. This based and history pilled. Not the asshole. You can fix this for your son by telling him Santa only brings presents to people who believe he's real. So dad never got to have Santa because he never believed, and that's why he thinks Santa is fake. Okay, look. I know that chat's going to be like, this is creating like a weird precedent for your child. Look, it's a kid, man. Like, if it works, it works. Who cares? You know, you get bigger problems. You are doubling down on a lie or on the truth with a lie. But, like, he's 4. Like, it doesn't matter. It's, like, this is not, in my opinion at least, this is not where things start becoming unwound and then, like, 40 years later, they're like, you know, it all went wrong when they kept feeding me lies about Santa, okay? This is, whatever. This doesn't strike me as a big deal. Okay, you're not the asshole. Is anyone gonna talk about the fact that, like, you know, disinviting him to Christmas is kind of extreme? Not the asshole, but unfortunately you're married to one. It's so funny to me because this is like a Curb Your Enthusiasm bit, like Larry David accidentally letting people know that letting a kid know Santa's not real. And then everybody's like, fuck you, you bald asshole. It's a dick move, but I'm feeling bad for the husband a little bit here. Like, everybody's going off, man. Not the asshole. He did it sneakily on purpose. Your child was upset. Did his dad comfort him at all? Did he dismiss your child's feelings as well as yours? Is that a good father? I don't know anything about your relationship or your history except for what you've said, and you said he was a good father. But based on this one post, I think you might be a liar. This is crazy, man. The husband is confused. That's probably an understatement. Also, at the time, the area was Greek and is now on the southern coast of Turkey. Not the asshole. Look, I don't disagree with the not the assholes to an insane extent. I'm just look at how many comments we had to go through before I found, you know, somebody that at least had some sympathy in this situation for, like, he threw the first stone, but the response was also maybe a little over the top. Yes, your husband shouldn't have told him, but instead of taking your son away from celebrating Christmas with his family, you could have spun this another way, talked about the real meaning of Christmas. Hey, Faris Aulia, thank you so much for the generosity. Thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Is it Christmas? And they said Santa wasn't real and that he's from Turkey when actually he's a Byzantine Greek. And the area only became Turkish several years later. Thank you. Appreciate it. Santa brought it early. You could have celebrated the real meaning of Christmas, also known as spending time together with loved ones. Yes, Santa's not real, but there's other things that are in the spirit of Santa. Generosity, kindness, happiness. You do realize you're going against that by taking the kid away from his dad. What you're teaching is that when somebody makes a mistake, we abandon them. FFS. That means for friends' sake. Maybe this issue goes deeper for your husband. Maybe he feels excluded and made a bad choice in telling your son. Either way, you're not going to solve anything by threatening to spend the holidays elsewhere 3 months in advance. I agree with this comment. I'm not trying to defend the husband. Like, I think that's it's a dickhead move, especially if you promised that you weren't going to do it. But like the reply to that is crazy. Well, okay, over the top. Let's not say crazy, but disproportionately aggressive or punitive as compared to the problem in the first place. Should September still be in the title? Well, nothing has changed. Subscriptions are 20% off for the month of September. It is October 4th, but September is still a thing. It doesn't. It's not really germane to the current situation, but I have calmed down a fair bit now and can see why he feels excluded from the whole Christmas thing and wanted to bond with our son by saying that Santa was fake and based on Saint Nick, who is Turkish, just like my husband. It's like, does she have this on the clipboard? Does she have a macro for this exact sentence? Sorry, this is not germane to the situation. He's at work, but I'm definitely going to talk to him about whether this is the case, and if it is, I'm going to try to find a way to make him feel more included. We don't live in Turkey, so I could definitely empathize with him missing his home country and potentially wanting to make that connection between Turkey and something our son loves by telling him this. I do disagree with him flat out saying Santa isn't real, especially without talking to me, and I am still upset. But it's very out of character for him to be inconsiderate. So now that I've calmed down, I can see it's definitely about something deeper rather than him just wanting to change up how our son views Christmas without me. Absolutely not. That's a profoundly offensive thing to say about a Greek Christian like Saint Nicholas. It's guys. I feel like we're getting in the weeds here about the origin of Saint Nicholas, okay? I feel like that's semantics. Maybe it's a different discussion that we can have at a later date. I don't think it's necessarily relevant to the situation at hand. St. Nicholas was Greek. St. Nicholas was a Roman citizen. I agree. Were Da Vinci and Michelangelo Italians? Most people refer to them as such, but they lived long after the Italian unification. Here's the thing. You called it a jackdaw, which is not true. A jackdaw is from the genus Jacusdaus. Sorry, that's like an ancient Reddit meme from ages ago. But Da Vinci? Your husband is wrong, by the way. St. Nicholas wasn't Turkish. He was Greek. Depending on how pedantic you want to get, St. Nicholas was either Roman or Lycian. While he was of Greek descent, the region in which he lived in hadn't been under Greek control for over 100 years by the time he was born. That's like saying Jesus was Roman or that Cleopatra turned Roman after the Roman conquest. Jesus was a citizen of Judea. Paul was a Roman. Nicholas was a Roman citizen, born about 190 years after the Roman Empire took control of Lycia. He had Greek heritage. Just wanted to say, I've been loving all your responses. Who fucking cares? Like... Shit pisses me off. Okay. In Germany, we celebrate St. Nick on December the 6th. Kids clean their shoes or boots and get little gifts and candy in them. Maybe you can find a similar tradition to include the Turkish saint. St. Nicholas wasn't Turkish. Hey, Germany. Nice tradition. Don't care, didn't ask. Plus, St. Nicholas wasn't Turkish. This is crazy, man. All right. Well, we've spent too much time on this one. Not that I haven't had a great time with this one, but oh man, they're really hung up on this St. Nicholas thing. Nobody even wants to talk about the fact that we can all agree. Maybe we don't know. Is he Lycian? Is he Roman? Is he Turkish? Is he Greek? Is he Byzantine? I don't know. What we all know is that he's got a belly That when he laughs, it rolls like a bowl full of jelly. Can we all agree there? Can we all agree that he's got a belly that rolls like a bowl full of jelly? And he hangs out with the polar bears on the North Pole? Actually, he's lean.